Hello everyone. Right, I was in the middle of doing a live video and I would just got checked out, so I'm not sure if it saved anything at all. And it's I think it's because the phone was overheating. It's such a good weather here. The phone was overheating and it just checked me out. So what I'm gonna do, just in case you didn't record anything, I can't see anything on my time stamp or anything, doesn't show anything on my timeline as the live video has been going out at all. So what I'll do it again. So I'm holding, bear with me, I'm gonna have to hold the phone on the hand so that it's not exposed to the sunlight, so it doesn't chuck me out again because it's overheating. So hopefully we get through that. Right, so today, as I said, I'm gonna do a live this specifically for women, to help women understand the hormones, how the hormones work, and also to understand how your hormones impact your energy level, your hunger level, and what to do about that, so you optimize the time during your cycle where your hormones are the best, if you like, best level, and then give yourself a little bit of slack on the time when your hormones are not being your friends, so to speak. Yeah, so starting first of all, three main hormones for ladies. So we've got estrogen, progesterone and testosterone. And so estrogen is the hormone that most ladies have heard about, and the one that's blamed for a lot of things. But estrogen does have some good and some bad sides. So on the good side is increases insulin sensitivity. What does it mean? It means that so I try to move my hand because it's freezing my hand completely here. I've got the air conditioning going on, so my hand is getting frozen now holding the phone. So increases insulin sensitivity. What basically means insulin sensitivity is the opposite of insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is what you get when your body is the cells in your body don't want to know anymore about having more glucose put inside of them, and they shut the door and they don't respond to insulin, which is the hormone that comes out to deal with carbohydrates you've eaten and the glucose. Insulin sensitivity is the opposite. So that your body is primed, the cells in your bodies are primed to get the nutrients from the food, the glucose that will be stored as glycogen, which is your main form of fuel, source of fuel if you're on a normal standard diet. So it's ideal time for your body to make the most of the food and absorb all the nutrients and use them optimally. So estrogens increases your insulin sensitivity, which is a great thing, is a good thing, helps build your muscle. Also increases the fat burning enzyme. So basically what it means is that enhances the use of fat for fuel, which is a good thing. That means you're burning more fat during the period when your estrogen is higher. And also helps you to limit muscle soreness. So not only helps build muscle, but it limits the muscle soreness. That means when you're in the gym and you work hard, your following day you're not going to feel quite as sore when your estrogen is on the period when your estrogen is higher. On the negative side, it impacts the thyroid. So too much estrogen, high estrogen level can affect thyroid function, which is a bad thing, obviously, because the thyroid regulates your metabolism. Then you feel sluggish, you get all the hypothyroid symptoms. Estrogen is also the primary cause of cellulite, although there is some water retention issue involved with that as well. So it's not just estrogen, based on estrogen, but it does have a major impact on that. And it contributes to an increase in body fat level. So estrogen is actually stored in your fat cells. So the more fat cells you have, the more estrogen you have. So often what happens as well, when you end up burning fat, you lose a lot of fat doing diet and stuff, and sometimes you have a release of estrogen, a higher release of estrogen in the body, because the fat cells are being broken down. Estrogen is stored in the fat cells, so you may get some symptoms for that. Progesterone. Now, progesterone is not as well known as estrogen because it doesn't get quite such a bad rap, but actually progesterone is not so good either. So progesterone is a type of steroid hormone. By the way, all hormones are made and they need cholesterol to be created. So that's why it's important we have cholesterol in our body. And low cholesterol, all this thing about you have to have low cholesterol is rubbish. So it's the bad cholesterol that you want to keep low, meaning your triglycerides, and in some form the LDL, although LDL is not so bad, totally bad. and the good cholesterol, HDL, you want to keep it up. Yeah, that helps you, helps your body function and keeps you healthy. So progesterone is a steroid hormone. What it does is it does the opposite of estrogen. So what estrogen increases the fat burning enzymes, progesterone increases the enzymes involved in fat storage. So you're storing the fat. Yeah. It also decreases your ability to build muscle. So again, the opposite of estrogen. And a thing to be very aware of, it decreases tendon strength. So that's when you are more at risk of causing tendon damage, yeah, when you exercise, when your progesterone is a higher level. As well as negatively affecting insulin sensitivity. So what estrogen was very good, increase your insulin sensitivity. So that's the time when you can eat more, your body is primed to using the nutrients, the food that you eat, more optimally. When progesterone is high, is opposite, affects insulin sensitivity. So you go more towards insulin resistance, which is the bad thing, yeah. And then the third hormone is testosterone. Now, women have testosterone just like men do. We don't have as much of it, but we do have it, and it plays a very important role in our cycle as well. Yeah, so it's very important for bone strength. Increases muscle mass. We know men hold on to more muscle because they got higher level of testosterone. So the higher testosterone, the more muscle mass increase ability you have. But also it's important for sex drive, for libido, and for overall energy. Yeah, so it's as important as the other hormones. We just don't have as much. Yeah. So that's why when women are worried about doing resistance training, that they're going to put on huge amount of weights, that huge amount of muscle, that's ridiculous, because we just physically can't, unless you inject yourself with extra testosterone to bulk up seriously. You don't, you get nice definition, but you don't turn into the Incredible Hulk. Yeah, that's basically the bottom line. So let's talk about the menstrual cycle. How do these hormones are affected? How are they affected in the menstrual cycle? How do they change? What does it mean for us, and what can we do about it? Now, menstrual cycle starts from day 0 to day 12. That's called the follicular phase, also the estrogen phase. Now, day 0 to day 3 or 5, depending on individual, that's when you have your period. Yeah, so that's the first few days of a period, and up to the day 12, that's your follicular phase. Now, during this phase, your estrogen increases all the time. Yeah, is at the highest level, so increases, and it peaks at day 12. That's when it's the highest. Progesterone is nice and low, and testosterone is starting to increase a little bit, but your body temperature is nice and normal. Yeah, there's no change in body temperature. What does it mean to you in layman's term? It means that during this period, because remember estrogen helps you building muscle, and reducing muscle soreness. During this period, you have a higher pain tolerance. Yeah, you can produce more force. Yeah, so because your muscle is increasing, be more ability to increase muscle mass. Yeah, so this is a time that if you're training, if you exercise, is a time to push harder, because you have a good muscle building while at the same time less soreness after exercising. Yeah, so that's the ideal time to really go for it if you go in the gym or do any other activity, whether it's cardio, whether it's weightlifting. I would say during this period you really want to do some weightlifting, because I say this is your ideal time to put on muscle mass. Yeah, and muscle mass gives you nice tone, as well as protecting the skeletal mass, increases the bone density. There's lots of good things about muscle. Yeah, so that's the time when you want to do definitely some weightlifting at some point. Also, you got higher insulin sensitivity, which what it means, because remember, estrogen increases your insulin sensitivity. Higher insulin sensitivity means that you can eat a bit more without the food being turned into fat, being stored as fat. So this is the time when you want to do bigger refeeds, do it around your workouts, around your training, and you can even increase your carbohydrate intake. Yeah, the body will optimize it, use it the best possible way without, storing into fat, without gaining fat, and maximize your recovery as well. Assuming you don't eat crap food. Of course, remember when I say eat food, we're talking about healthy food. We're not talking about eating, donuts and frappuccinos and all the crap, chocolate, stuff like that. Yeah, this is healthy, good food, whole food. You eat that, you can eat a bit more, you get away with it, and also you optimize your recovery at the same time. Yeah, perfect, great phase, this one. So from day 13 to 15, what happens? That's when when you go into your ovulation phase. That's when ovulation happens. Yeah, so 3 days roughly. Again, this is based on a cycle, 28-day cycle, standard cycle. Not everybody's got 28-day cycle, so I appreciate that. Yeah, so if your cycle is longer, so these days are going to be slightly off, but you can tell when you're ovulating. Why? Because one of the first things you know when you're ovulating is that your body temperature increases. Yeah, so that's how there's a lot of kits out there to check whether you're ovulating. It checks your body temperature, and you know that's your ovulation phase. The egg is released. Yeah. So what happens in your ovulation phase? Now the testosterone is peaking. That's the highest level it's at during the ovulation phase. Yeah. Progesterone is starting to increase. Yeah. And estrogen starts to drop a little bit, but not just a tiny little bit. Yeah. So what does it mean to you? Remember, testosterone is peaking. Testosterone helps you to build muscle mass. It gives you overall energy. Higher energy is good for your bone strength. Yeah. This is the time to really push as hard as you can. This small gap of few days to push as hard as you can. If you're in the gym and you wanna smash your records on weightlifting, that's the time to aim for your personal best. Yeah, if you're a cardio person, that's the time to push, to push harder on your intervals or push harder on your cardio, because you can do it, your body can tolerate it, and you're energetic. Everything is in the ideal position. Yeah. Your basal metabolic rate will be increasing as well. Basal metabolic rate is basically the amount of calories your body burns at rest when you're not moving. Yeah, so that's increased. That means your metabolism is higher, you burn more. However, your insulin sensitivities is starting to decline. Why? Because progesterone is increasing. That's the one that affects negatively your insulin sensitivity. What it means, you gotta watch what you eat. Yeah, it's no longer a time to do massive carbs refeeds. Yeah, after training to optimize your recovery without putting on fat. This is the time to start watching your macros. So don't go so mad on carbohydrate. Still eat according to your exercise, but reduce your carbohydrate a little bit and favor more your protein intake. Yeah, and moderate levels of fat, unless you're doing a ketogenic diet and you need to have a higher level of fat because you hardly get any carbohydrates. Yeah, okay, so this is time to go really achieve your personal best in the gym or whatever you like to do. Then from roughly day 16 to 28, that's the luteal phase. Now luteal phase is when the progesterone starts to increase. Yeah, so the progesterone phase, if you like. So this is the phase when we tend to get your PMS symptoms. You start feeling bloated, you start feeling tired. It's not the ideal. That's the time when the women don't feel very good. You have your fat days, you feel fat. Yeah, because you're holding on to more fluids and stuff, water and stuff like that. So during this phase, you have rising progesterone. Yeah, remember, progesterone increases your fat storage ability, enzymes. Yeah, so you got rising progesterones that rises all the way through until day 22, so towards the end of this phase, and then it starts dropping a little bit. Yeah, you got also rising estrogen. However, estrogen is a lot lower than it used to be in the beginning, in the follicular phase. Yes, a lot lower. Progesterone is higher than estrogen at this point. Yeah, and estrogen starts falling down towards the end of this phase as well. So both follow a nice curve. Yeah, up and down slowly. Testosterone drops. It's nice and low at this point. Yeah, and the body temperature is still increasing. Yeah, so during this phase, your body is getting ready to sustain life. Assuming the egg has been fertilized, your body is getting ready to, to sustain this new life. Yeah, so it's not the time to go for personal best. Yeah, this is the time where the body is doing the opposite. So first of all, because you got a higher body temperature, higher body temperature means that you will get exhausted faster. So while before you might be able to go for a nice run, 30 minutes run, that you find out that after 20 minutes, even less, you're exhausted. Yeah, because you're overheating. Yeah, same with the weights. You might not be able to do as heavy weights, or interval training. You might be doing only, if you do 8 intervals of sprinting, you might not be able to do 4 or 5 intervals of sprinting. So cut yourself a bit of slack, because this is down to hormones. You feel exhausted quicker. Yeah. Also, you have an increase in carbs craving. That's why many women during this phase get craving for chocolate. Yeah, carbohydrate, that's body craves for that, and that's due to the fact mainly that your serotonin level drops. Serotonin is the hormones, what they call the happy hormone. Yeah, so how do you increase your serotonin level? Exercise. Yeah, so you have to just exercise to your energy level at the time, but you still need to move. Don't stay at home doing nothing and eating carbohydrates and chocolate, because then this is the time when you're going to be storing those carbohydrates as fat, because progesterone is highest. Yeah, that's the time when you won't want to be doing that. Okay, so increased body temperature, you feel more exhausted, increased carbohydrate cravings because serotonin levels is lower. Yeah, also lower recovery rate. Remember that progesterone, what it does, it decreases your tendon strength as well as the decreasing your ability to build muscle. So this is a time where you have to be careful, because your recovery rate will be a lot lower. That means it takes you longer to recover between sessions, so you have to do more moderate intensity strength training and moderate cardio. So don't go for heavy weights. So if you normally would do squat 70 kilos, for 15 reps, 4 rounds, let's say, you might need to go down, drop down, and maybe you can still do your 70 kilos, maybe just do 10 reps and 3 rounds. Yeah, or you might need to drop the weights. Yeah, go by how you feel. Still do something, but go more moderate. So you may not want to do too much sprinting stuff, because your tendons, is a time when your tendon strength is decreased. You can cause yourself more likely to cause yourself an injury, and your recovery rates take longer. So the more interval training is very taxing to the nervous system. Yeah, it's very taxing to your body. So it might reduce the amount of intervals you do, or just go for steady state. Go for either a nice jog rather than a sprint or a full-on run, or do some type of cardio that is like 30-40 minutes, but steady state. Yeah, so you're in the fat burning zone rather than the anaerobic zone. Yeah, where you can't, your heart rate goes really, really high. And also because the progesterone is rising during this period, progesterone increases your protein metabolism. What it means is that it's the best time now to eat more protein. Yeah, so to help your muscle maximize the recovery rate as well. So you want to adjust your macronutrients, whereby you're eating less carbohydrate, because remember, you got your progesterone also is involved with increasing enzymes they're involved in fat storage. So reduce your carbohydrate. Although you got cravings for carbohydrate, you use your carbohydrate, increase your protein instead. Yeah. And very important, because your exercise intensity will be less, you need to make sure you adjust your calories to that. So while doing the previous phase, where your estrogen was higher, you were a maximum ability to maximum energy level, you feeling great, you were pushing really hard in the gym, and you could actually eat more as a result for recovery purposes as well. This is the phase where you're going to be storing more fat if you eat more, and you're not pushing so hard, so you cannot be eating the same amount of calories, because you're not going to be burning as much. You need to adjust your calories a little bit. They're not drastic. You get a couple of 100 calories less a day, and choose your food carefully. Yeah, so watch those carbohydrates. Now, I know your cravings are going to be there. Best advice I can give you for ladies who have massive cravings for chocolate during this period is go for dark chocolate. You want to do 85%. Yeah, ideally, minimum. You have a couple of squares of dark chocolate, trust me, the cravings will go, because it's so bitter. Most importantly is you minimize the damage, because dark chocolate is mainly fat rather than sugars. Yeah, so it keep you fuller for longer. It won't continue the craving for chocolate, because if you have milk chocolate, you want to go more and more and more and more and more, then you end up giving more crap. Yeah, so dark chocolate as a way to minimize the damage caused during this period, because I say you do get carbohydrate cravings. And by the same token, I say don't try to control your cravings to the point where you won't touch anything at all. Yeah, because that will be counterproductive. What's going to happen is you build your cravings so much during this period that if you don't give yourself a little bit of leeway, maybe a little treat, a dark chocolate, whatever it might be, then eventually you end up binging. It gets so bad that you end up binging, then you do 10 times the damage. Yeah, so allow yourself a little treat, whatever it is. If you got cravings for something savory, allow yourself a little treat of something savory. If you're craving for something sweet, allow yourself a treat of something sweet. But again, choose the least of the two evils, if you like. Yeah, so go for darker chocolate if your craving is chocolate. Yeah. Okay, so and this is basically a guideline to make you understand that when we feel those fat days, when we're feeling like crap, when we're feeling, you go to the gym and one day you wake up and you think, oh, for God's sake, why am I feeling so tired? Why can't I be bothered to do anything today? what is going on. That's your hormones. It's part of a natural cycle, so don't feel guilty about it. Very often when we have our fat days during this period, yeah, so the luteal phase where your progesterone is highest, yeah, we tend also to hold on to more water. So that's why I never ever measure my clients on the scale and take measure when they are on the period. Yeah, so and if a period is due in the next few days, so in this phase, yeah, the phase which is the phase before you start your next period, I don't measure them. Why? Because I know they will automatically, you probably will have noticed yourself, when you go on the scale, you're doing this period, you would have put 1 or 2 kilos, and you actually haven't put any 1 or 2 kilos. It's literally is you're holding on to more water. Yeah, you got water retention that makes you heavier. Water is heavy. Yeah. And you are bloated very often, so you feel fat. You know, you haven't put on weight, it's just your hormones change, the way your hormones change. Yeah, so never ever measure yourself during this period. So the period right before your cycle, the week right before your cycle, never ever measure yourself during the period, because there will be starting to be some changes that makes you feel you put on weight, you haven't put on weight, then you feel bad for yourself, you're going to go and binge because you might as well, for a fact it's all gone wrong, might as well do, you know, go and eat extra. So don't do that. Yeah, you measure yourself after you finish your cycle, when you're in that follicular phase, when your hormones, you know, estrogen is higher, the progesterone is low, testosterone is starting to increase. That's when you get a better idea of what's going on. You're deflated, the water's gone out, you know, and everything's fine. So that's when you want to measure yourself. Yeah, after your period is finished, that's the time to measure yourself. And very often you probably notice yourself. I mean, I'm in the menopause at the moment, so I don't get the period anymore, although you get the hormone fluctuation is still happening in the menopause. It's a different type of hormone fluctuation, which is a bloody nightmare, but they're still happening. Yeah, but I notice when I used to have a period is when I was in the middle of a period, is that there will be like a swoosh. All of a sudden one day I wake up and I feel thin and I feel like I've lost weight. Yeah, that's when from water retention is, everything is being cleared, your hormones are back down, coming back down to normal levels. Yeah, and then that you feel thinner. That's all it is. You haven't put on weight, it's your hormones. Yeah, so don't panic over that. You know, just go for your cycle as normal. Just learn to maximize your exercise and your food intake when in the early part of the cycle, so from day 0 to day 15, so including the follicular and ovulation phase. That's when you're at your best level. Push hard in the gym, work harder, work out harder, exercise harder, because your body can take it. Your pain threshold is highest, you can tolerate it much better, your recovery is much better, your insulin sensitivity is great, so you can eat a bit more to support your recovery and everything. Do it in the period. When you get to the week, day 16 to day 28, to the end of your cycle, that's where everything starts feeling not so good. You feel tired, you get PMS, you know, sore breast and all that kind of stuff. Okay, control your food, still exercise, just reduce the intensity, so you exercise in line with your ability. Yeah, and if one day you feel total crap, you don't have to exercise every time. Yeah, just be active, go for a walk. Yeah, if you adjust this, then not only you get better results, but also you will not feel guilty, and you'll end up not binging, you know, and not throwing everything, you know, throwing the toys out of the pram because things are not working. You just need to know what your body's doing and the effect of the hormonal changes, what it means and why you feel that way. So then you accept it, you act accordingly, and you feel a lot better. Yeah, cut yourself some slack. Yeah, very often if you train with male trainers, they don't understand the cycle properly, so you need to be aware of that. You may need to explain a few things to them. I know it's uncomfortable, but explain to them, this is the time of the period, my progesterone is higher, it's not going to work, I need to do exercise that's suitable for this time of period. Don't push me to do extra stuff during this period, but I'll do it in the next 0 to 15 days. Yeah, at the beginning of a cycle I can do everything. Yeah, so just educate them, because it's not that they don't know. If they don't specifically want to learn these kind of things, they don't understand it. They train women the same way they train men, and then it all goes wrong. Yeah, because men don't have this problem, you know, with the having got estrogen and testosterone and progesterone to worry about. They got some estrogen, but they haven't got the fluctuation we get. Yeah, and they get the most amount of testosterone, which is the hormones that give you all the strength and everything, so they don't get this problem. Yeah. Likewise, exercise with your partners, your husbands, your boyfriends. If you go and train with them, make sure you explain this to them, so they appreciate that it's not you just being awkward, or you being weak. It's just the wrong time of the month to do that kind of training. And for yourself, you adjust yourself, you will get a lot better results. You won't feel guilty about things, and most importantly, you won't panic thinking you're putting on weight when you're not putting on weight. It's your hormones fluctuation that causing changes in your body. Okay, I hope you found this helpful, and if, as usual, if you got any questions, please feel free to put some comments underneath, and I'll reply to you. I'm hoping that this is going to be saved now, because that's the second time I've done this live, so I'm hoping it will save it this time round, and it's not going to overheat on me again. If you know anybody who needs any help with the hormones and stuff like that, please pass them this information. All women should know how the cycle affects them, both for exercise and nutrition point of view, so that we can get our body, we work with our body rather against our body. But it's also, if you know anybody who needs any help in respect of diabetes or autoimmune disorders, help with exercise and nutrition. I specialize in diabetes, autoimmune, underactive thyroid, so I'm here obviously to help anybody who's struggling with that and getting nowhere with that, and support them through programs and personal coaching. So I hope you guys have all a good weekend, and it's very hot here. It's 21 degrees at the moment in London, which is quite nice. We're gonna have a nice hot weekend. I hope you enjoy your Easter holidays. If you don't celebrate Easter, just enjoy the good weather. We don't get it very often, so make the most of it. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye.